Staying during abuse, dirty texts, dick pics, and boiling over. Stop using boundaries, guys.
You have an apology problem. You are holding yourself back.
What you can do or what to do when you're not having sex. You've never seen us in action.
There is always something that you need to do better.
Staying during abuse. Welcome to the Morrow Marriage podcast, where we are real, raw, uncensored, and anointed. All right.
Pair 5.
I'm going to bring this one up today, staying during abuse, because it's integral to our story. But also, you got a request. You got a DM?
I did. I got a DM on Instagram, and the lady asked me, and the message was a little bit off-putting, to be quite honest with you, because she was using quotes, and she said, you know, I hear you say all the time that you are, quotes, strong personality and a leader, but it's not adding up for me. And then she said, I don't remember what was all in there, but you know, why wouldn't you just leave? If you were so strong, why didn't you just leave? Why did you stay? Commitment, Jesus, and she gave a couple other things. And I can't remember what was in the message, but I'm not offended by it. I read it and I was like, wow, that's a little bit offensive. I thought, she's questioning my leadership, questioning my personality. What are you questioning? But I think what she's trying to ask is she's resonating with my story. And so many women go into marriages that end up being abusive, and something changes where they never would have tolerated this from anybody else. They never would have tolerated this in any other instance, yet they don't leave. Not only that, they move forward in progress. I'm going to put quotes now, because they have children and they do all these things, and you buy a house together, and whatever you do, you start a business together, you do all the things. And then it gets to the point where you're like, people are, well, in this story, our story, she's like, well, if you were so strong, why did you stay? Why didn't you leave if you were the person that you claimed to be? So
before you go too far into that to answer her, but I just want to say this, and keep in mind, this is a perfect way to explain more of our story for you guys, because it was years that we were together that I was abusing Kathryn before we had children. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Kathryn, she's going to talk about it, but she's incredibly strong. It's one of the reasons I loved her. But the strength that I removed, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but I destroyed her at the same time. And she lost herself, just like we talk about you guys all the time. Men and women lose themselves in relationships. Mm-hmm. And Kathryn probably should have left. Under normal circumstances, no children, and the level of abuse that I was capable of, yeah, I get it.
Not even capable of.
Well, yeah,
doing.
But I was doing, yeah.
Yes.
So, I don't know, now you go back to it again.
Well, and she said, one of the questions that she asked, and I can't remember if I've already said this, but did the relationship make you strong because you had to endure it, or were you actually strong prior? Mm-hmm. Great question. Mm-hmm. Because I'm definitely stronger now than I was before, because the strength that I had before I did all the growth, I was forced into growth with you. And so now I'm stronger because I was forced into growth, which is one of the most beautiful pieces of our story, is that we talked about this the other day, how we both thought that we grew, and we made all of these concessions and changes. And I went to all these therapists, and he thought he was managing his anger, and he was for him. And I was making changes for me, but we couldn't meet. Mm-hmm. We couldn't see each other's changes. And to this day, we just can't agree that he was changing and I was changing. I'm like, no, I was changing.
Our timelines are still so constrained. I saw you question me, sort of, you're side eye, because I was like, no, you didn't really grow until way later. And you were just like,
yeah, I'm just like, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah. And so
we have a different
different perspectives, to 100%, you know? Yeah.
But to answer the question, I've always been very strong, very strong personality, always a leader. People have always gravitated towards me, but it's not like everybody gravitates towards me. I'm an acquired taste.
You got that right.
You'll either really like me or maybe you don't, because you don't like how direct I am. You are intimidated by the strength that I have and the confidence that I have. And I've never had false confidence. That's one of those things. I've always been very confident, and I don't relate to some of the things like you work with men and I work with women where they've had to display a level of confidence that wasn't real. I can't understand that in my core. I can understand it because I work with people that are like that. But I've always been strong. If anything, I've had to learn to soften. So I was so strong that I may have been and was aggressive, tactless, blunt, because it was my way. It's still my way, the highway. But I joked with one of our clients the other day, she doesn't, she's living in husband's name show. And I was like, I can relate to that. If you want to be in my life, you kind of are living in the Kathryn Morrow show.
That's it.
And but I'm empathetic and I'm compassionate and I'm soft and I'm loving it. All those beautiful things. But the world in some way or another does revolve around me. But I'm self-aware.
Same as me, but I lack a lot of that empathy, a lot of the compassion.
Right.
But people come to me because they want me to tell it like it is.
Yes.
And I'm not going to give a fuck. If you want to change, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go from A to fucking B.
That's right. So we do live in our own world.
Yeah.
We invite people into our world and we are selective about those people that are invited. Anyway, that's kind of a different thing. But I've always been strong. When I met my husband, I got blindsided. So he sucked me in with the love bombing, which now we know the love bombing can be real. People will say it's love bombing, it's fake, it's not real, it's manipulative. No, if he can love bomb, that means he knows how to love.
And 100%, you guys, like for those of you who are, like, I'm really trying to attack people now who are using the labels and don't even understand them or latching onto these theories and shit with relationship dynamics. But like, we all love you. When we are doing this, we have no idea what's going on. And what my definition of narcissism is that the narcissist doesn't understand or know how to love consistently because they don't know how to receive love. That's it.
And their expectations of love are unrealistic.
Yes, but
their need is so great.
That's not part of the definition. That's one of the symptoms that starts to happen.
It's not one of your definitions.
Yes.
We're living in the Kathryn Morrow show, you guys.
No, it's the Kathryn Morrow show. Okay, so
anyway, the reason that I was blindsided. I fell in love with the love bombing. I fell in love with the man. There was a softness to him, even though he had all of this aggression. I loved him, and every time he would fuck up, I would forgive him. Clean slate every time. Try again. So it takes a while. That behavior isn't always a red flag. If that is your pattern, and you've dated men that have been the same, and finally you married one, that's on you. This wasn't my pattern. It's not like I had all healthy relationships, but by the time I met him, the things that he showed me, I had never seen those things before, not at least to this extent.
Also showed her a lot of different kinds of love.
Yes.
And so
he treated me like a queen.
So she literally
I was able
fell
to
in
forgive.
love too, right? And so that's something that this woman's probably forgetting is that, see, the world, not you guys, you're listening, okay? But like, look around. The world is going to find every excuse to fucking quit. And again, it doesn't matter if we're talking about relationship, we're talking about business, whatever. I just talked to one of our old friends and, oh man, I feel so terrible. And I'm helping him. He's in the program now and everything. But, he walked away from his family 10 months ago. And he said, I don't know. I just fell out of love. Because that's what people say every fucking day. We grow apart and people accept it as a normal. So this woman is challenging you. And I like that. I love it when you guys challenge us, but she's challenging you but she's forgetting that when we fall in love, you can't help who you love. When we fall in love, you have a gift that you can give to them if they have a problem. I had a problem.
And I think she's challenging me. And she said near the end of the message, that's why I said I'm not offended. When I first read it, I was like, oh, that's, wow. Like, hello, at least say hello, good morning first before you just dive into you're not who you say you are.
Yeah.
And after I read the whole message, I was like, okay, she wants help. She resonates with our story. So she probably also endured. A lot of you women, maybe men too, mostly it's the women that are enduring the level of abuse that I endured with you. So you went through it. You're a strong woman. How did you lose yourself in a marriage with a man that you feel like hates you? How did you do it? Well, because he doesn't hate you. But he's built up walls of bitterness and contempt and resentment. I don't know how many times I've said those words on these podcasts. Somebody should just go watch them all and then send it to me. Let me know. Some of you guys are really, Albert Einstein. You can go do that, or AI can do it, or whatever. But you forget that there was a tender man in there. Whether or not it was love bombing, whether there's manipulation, the manipulation comes from somewhere. Usually it's the desire to be loved or to be number one, to be in power, to be in control.
Oh, I just want to stop you right there because most of you guys don't have a partner who's intentionally manipulating.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The manipulation comes from.
Yeah, but I want to be clear with you people. Whether it's a man or a woman, okay? When you're in this nice guy triangle, which could be women too, okay? At the end of the day, when they learn about this triangle and they learn that they've been giving to get, that's the manipulation. They've been love bombing, okay? Whether you're narcissist or not, it's over love, okay? Availability, give. We're good, thank you. And then, essentially when they feel the love pull, like it's not enough, they pull back when they don't feel like there's loved as much. And then that's where the manipulation starts. Okay. So now I don't know if you love me, if it's real, if I could trust you, especially when it turns to the next point in the triangle, which is blaming all of that. Okay. Attacking the character, the contempt fueled rage that would dump on Kathryn. Okay. But none of that I even knew was going on. You guys have to understand most of your partners are not intentionally manipulating. They're not.
They're not smart enough to.
Most people, no, people are, let's even go with people are smart enough to. Just do that for a second, okay? It wasn't that this strong, beautiful, intelligent fucking woman was being manipulated and she can't be that strong. No, it's that there was other decisions that she made about the life that she could have. The commitment, you asked the question in the DM about, her faith and her integrity. Those are strong values for Kathryn, like impeccably strong. Which I wish I would have really appreciated in the beginning. Could have changed a lot, but essentially there's so much more. You all know this. So you all remember thinking like, I want more. There can be more. I see more. You talk about hope when you message us. Is there hope? I emailed a woman today. She goes, this gives me hope. Right? That's said like almost at least a few times a week, but it's like it's probably hundreds of times a week. What am I saying? Like, you have to understand, I destroyed the woman, the strength that she had. I anchored her during those abusive years.
I started to show codependent traits. I was not a codependent woman. Mm-hmm. I'm not a codependent woman. I wasn't, I'm not, I will never be, but I did display some of those traits because I was acting out of fear. I was acting out of desperation. There's all kinds of things because he didn't mean to manipulate me, but it was manipulating. He just wasn't doing it intentionally. Mm-hmm.
It's just it's my own reality.
Right.
And everybody has one, nuts like me or not. You all have your own fucking reality.
Nuts like me.
That's it, right? And so what you have to understand is, if you want more, the more came from later. It came from Kathryn wanting more for herself and not accepting the low standards that were not what I promised. I promised
that we
this.
Set.
Yeah.
It wasn't even just him.
Yeah.
I enabled it to happen. I allowed it to happen because I didn't stand in the strength that I had. I allowed it to be stripped. I enabled him to strip that strength away because I let my guard down. I was vulnerable, which is okay. But then we became an enmeshment of, lots of different things.
Well, just toxicity.
Oh my gosh.
Here's the thing. In the journey, and again, the timelines are totally different, but in the journey of growth, and you start to stick to things like integrity, sure, that hope you have until you have faith in yourself. See, both of us, the real story when it comes to somebody asking about the strength that one had and how could you endure this and was it for the kids? It's not that. It's that when you don't know who you are, in this case, it was who she was in the marriage, okay? And me, I didn't know who the fuck I was in general, okay? In my life, everything was a fucking facade, okay? Which was attached to self-worth. So what you have to understand is it's really all back to the identity stuff that we talk about, knowing who you are beyond your spouse. This is why Kathryn can talk about standing in her own strength and her own power and not enabling the abuse anymore. I could be angry and she showed me compassion, not fucking contempt anymore, right? And when
who did I want to be?
Yes.
Despite who he was, who did I want to be? Not because of what he deserved, but who I wanted to be as a woman.
And essentially what was that? That was giving her all the strength back that she had prior, but with a whole lot more skills that allowed her to be the woman that she wanted to be. Because she didn't actually have the skills. We talk about it all the time. If Kathryn would have done this, and this, she could have probably changed everything.
Gosh, if I would have known earlier.
Even though I put the responsibility on men, it's because I say, why should I have waited for my wife?
I put the responsibility on myself.
Yeah.
I could have changed things far sooner.
Guys, you can too.
Yeah.
All right. See you next time.
Bye.